All roads lead to Nvidia here, one way or another. Can the market move forward if Nvidia doesn't?
Yeah, Tyler, I think it's important for investors to keep that in mind, that the markets can continue to roll on, and the markets can continue to roll on with the AI theme in mind. If you just consider the fact that last year, Microsoft was sort of the be-all, end-all as far as the conversation around AI was concerned, and it went from being the company that we considered to be the AI leader to being one of the companies that we considered to being the leader. So Nvidia could absolutely come out, blow it out of the water with earnings, give us great guidance going into the next quarter. The shares still sell off, and I think investors have to keep in mind that that's not necessarily indicative of the broader AI story starting to slow down.
Semiconductor business is volatile. Let's just put it bluntly. I mean, it can, and the stocks, they can move up and down a lot.
Well, not only is it volatile, it's meant to be cyclical, which is, I think, another thing that investors in names like Nvidia seem to have forgotten, because we've been talking about this company and trading it similar to a lot of the growthier names that have staying power, where typically your chip stocks have about a 3-year run where things are powered. There's the upgrade cycle, right? New technologies come out that require newer, better, and different chips. And Nvidia's narrative with AI behind it has gone on for quite some time, but we're still talking about it as if, you know, it's still early innings here. And so I think it's really important to keep in mind that we could see something like one of the hyperscalers, or a few of them, you know, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, to name a few, to develop their own chips in-house that make them suddenly less reliant on names like Nvidia, but then also a company like an AMD, for example, their first direct competitor, to create a chip that is similarly capable of running all of those different models simultaneously for half the cost, let's say, and that suddenly changes the narrative around Nvidia. So we should keep in mind, to your point, that chips are always cyclicals, and they always have that lull that comes after the boom.
Well, as we wait for bated breath for Nvidia's earnings, let's talk about rates and which stocks are likely to be, or sectors are likely to be beneficiaries of the 2 or maybe 3 rate cuts that now the markets are pricing in.
Yeah, so I think that the market has seemingly capitulated around the idea that the Russell 2000 is going to be the biggest winner the moment we get that first cut, right? Small caps, if you just think about it, are usually directly impacted by borrowing to invest in things like growth. And so if you consider maybe a third of the Russell 2000 companies are not profitable, they don't generate the kind of cash flow needed to directly invest in those operations themselves, they have to borrow to grow. It does make complete sense that the first few rate cuts are going to go directly to small caps, and that's going to be the thing to drive like a IWM, for example.
A lot of attention, Malcolm, on artificial intelligence stocks. But you like quite a few of these computer security stocks. Tell us which ones and why.
Yeah, so Tyler, I actually just put out a note making the case for why I think that mass consolidation is coming to the cybersecurity industry in 2025. And one of the big reasons for that is that there's a tailwind at the backs of these companies mandated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, right? Anytime we have these massive outages, they now have to be reported to shareholders. But separately from that, AI is also making those attacks even more sophisticated and even easier to create, which means that cybersecurity is now a non-discretionary line item in these companies' budgets. And so I expect for CrowdStrike's earnings report to show us, George Kurtz during their earnings report to come out and tell us something along the lines of that outage is behind them now, they're moving on, and the rest of the cybersecurity industry to be lifted by that high tide that comes from a snapback in CrowdStrike's share price.